Sean Payton has his joker. Evan Engram is a Denver Bronco. We've got one of his former teammates to break it down, and it starts now. Evan Engram is a Bronco. Dre Greenlaw, a Bronco. Talanoa Hufanga, a Bronco. Trent Sherfield, a Bronco. And we've got the perfect guest to break all of these guys down. A former teammate with every single one of them. Plus, he played under Sean Payton and under Vance Joseph. We've got the great Bennie Fowler joining us today. Bennie, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm excited just to talk all free agency, what the Broncos are doing, what Sean Payton's doing. It's just exciting to be here and talk football with you guys.
Well, we're pumped to have you. And of course, we're the DNVR Broncos Podcast. Ryan Koenigsberg, Henry Chisholm, we got you here, and Dion. Big show today. Zac Stevens rocking and rolling with you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota store. Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, I was just going to say, the craziest part about this is like true destiny. Yes. We had this planned before the Broncos signed any of those guys. I can't even wrap my mind around that.
No, it really is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And the fact that these guys were all teammates of mine, maybe not for a long time, except for Evan Engram. I was there in New York with him for 2 years, so can really speak to his skill set, who he is as a person, the way he fits into this offense. It's exciting times here for the Broncos. I'm very excited just the way that they are building the roster, not going after, hey, let me overpay for this person. No, does this person fit into the offense or defense or special teams, and do they fit into the culture? And I think that's what we have right here and what Sean and George are doing.
And you mentioned that you weren't necessarily teammates long with a lot of these guys. If we had discovered like last night that you had overlapped for like 2 weeks with Trent Sherfield, we would have been like, wow, what a win. That's huge. It just happened to be all four.
And it's crazy. So we put this out on social media yesterday about we're having a guest on that has all these connections. And a couple of people got it. Shout out to you guys. But there's also one other person that I was able to find that has all of these connections. Henry, you're nodding your head like you know. Do either of you know who would have all of these connections?
I think I know.
O.E. Manuel Sanders.
That's the one, right?
Is it? Did he play with Evan Engram?
No, he didn't play with Evan.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
no.
So he's the one.
Who played with Evan Engram.
Oh.
Is it DJ Jones?
It is DJ
Okay.
Jones.
I was thinking
but you
former
have to go
players.
back to college in order for him to have the connection
Ole Miss.
with Evan Engram at Ole Miss.
Gotcha. Wow. I would have not thought about that at all. But shout out to DJ Jones and shout out to him for being back as a Bronco. That was a great re-signing there.
Yeah.
You played with him too, right? With the 49ers?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Great guy. Somebody that I talked a lot of cash with. I don't want to say say the expletive that I would like to say, but I always enjoy talking like that to the defensive lineman. He's a good guy and somebody I've actually done some community service work here since he's been a Bronco. So great guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, so you would talk crap to defensive linemen as
course.
a wide receiver?
That's the most fun. Derek Wolfe, Malik Jackson, DeMarcus Ware. It makes practice a little bit more interesting. And the fact that I know that they won't hit me is actually it's a plus. So I can actually do it. So.
Skill position guys are a protected species.
Exactly. We're all on the outside. I'm catching the ball outside the numbers.
That's true. You do have that protect. You're not wearing the green shirt like the quarterbacks are, but they're not going to take you out. So what a perfect day for Broncos Country. We get Bennie Fowler on the show to break it down. Broncos land Evan Engram. Henry and I broke it down on Emergency So yesterday, so I want to get Ryan and Benny's initial reaction to the Broncos signing Evan Engram. And Bennie, what do you think right when the Broncos sign Evan Engram?
Well, number one, I was following you guys' tweets in terms of Evan being in the building and then leaving the building without a contract. So I was a little worried and disappointed when that happened. And then when he went to the Chargers, I was really worried because now he's in the division and you lose or you are going against a weapon like that. It's going to be tough every single year in terms of who is the linebacker that's really covering Evan Engram because he is a receiver type body, super fast, super strong. So when I saw the news that he signed, I got really excited. And when we think about getting back to the Payton years or the exciting years of high-powered offense, you need a versatile tight end who can run routes, who is that joker type. You can, put Evan in so many different ways. You can put his hand in the dirt. You can line him out at receiver. You can line him up in the slot. So when I played with him in New York, we use him in a whole bunch of different ways. And as I saw some of the highlights on the DNVR Instagram, so you see the shallow routes, you see the catch and run, you see some of the jump balls, you see double moves, you see him used in so many different ways. He is such a unique, dynamic talent. And if you look at the body type, it reminds you of somebody who wore 88 here, the late, great Demaryius Thomas. 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds, run after the catch, watch the way they hold the ball, one hand only because their hands are so big. So it's super exciting.
Yeah.
Dang, that is really exciting when you put it like that. And you compare him, he's supposed to be a tight end, but you compare him to a wide receiver. And that was the conversation coming out of Ole Miss for him, was like, man, he's so good, but should he transition to wide receiver? And he actually, I think, is a better blocker than people give him credit for. Yeah. Like you mentioned, he can put his hand in the dirt. Henry, you broke down over at DNVR.com how he is a better blocker than people think. And so he's kind of found this role as, no, he's not just a true wide receiver, but he is like almost the most dangerous receiving tight end that you can have.
Absolutely. And he will block, and he will give the effort to block, which is also the most important thing, is that you have to give the effort and you have to want to, and Evan will have the want to. And don't get me wrong, he's played with incredible running backs. When I was there in New York with him, we were blocking for Saquon Barkley. Yeah. So he understands the team element of things, and the way Sean will use him will be super unique. And if you go back and watch Sean's offenses, when he had Jared Cook, I wouldn't say he's a Jimmy Graham type. Jimmy Graham's more of the seam ball, jump ball in the red zone. But Evan he's versatile.
He is.
He can run all the routes in the route tree. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. And going back and watching the blocking, the reputation is that he can't block. And so I went in there with pretty low expectations. What I found is that if you haven't blocked somebody who's like his size or smaller, he's going to do it. Because again, like the effort's there. Just like lining up, have him take on TJ Watt. That's a tough job for a tight end. Exactly.
I think it's a lazy take when people say he can't block because he can catch. He can catch and he can run routes. Well, that means he can't block. That's not true.
Well, and I think a lot of the narrative has just changed. Like, the big thing that stood out to me is just how smart he is. Yep. Like the way that he like finds space, or even on drag routes, like man coverage, drag route against a linebacker, you'd think like just run as fast as you can, get away from the guy. If he gets enough separation, he'll slow down, become like an easy target. Like he just has such a good feel for those sorts of things that surprises me, because he ran a 4.42 and he was like the third fastest tight end in the history of the combine. You're like, okay, this is a guy who's just out there to run. And I wonder if he was always like that.
Well, that's what I was going to say when I said yesterday, I'd almost rather have a 30-year-old tight end than take a tight end in the first round when I'm trying to win right now.
Totally.
Because you learn that over time. And I'm sure when he came out of the draft running that 4.42, he wasn't thinking about, let me slow down in the soft spot. Like he's just burning through trying to run past somebody. So that's the advantage of getting a veteran tight end for a young quarterback, and why actually we had Thomas Dimitroff on the Buffs podcast at the Super Bowl, former Falcons GM. And one of the first thing he said he would do if he drafted Shedeur Sanders was like make sure he has a veteran tight end that can be around him. Obviously, when he had Matt Ryan, they got Tony Gonzalez. So like when you have a young quarterback, and Bo's already feels like he's a seasoned vet at this point, but having just that little safety valve who knows exactly where the soft spots are going to be is huge.
Yeah, Sean's going to be able to get this guy open the way that he will be used across the field on basic routes, which are those routes in 12 to 14 yards, out routes. I mean, you can even run some screens with this guy.
Totally.
And he can take him to the house. I mean, I don't remember what type of play it was, but we were playing in Tampa Bay, and I think Evan just caught a 5-yard out route and took it 70 yards. So he has that type of ability still.
It's crazy.
And you got to think about who are the people that are going to be guarding this guy. he's still going to be faster than them.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, and I remember there was one of the clips from his mini highlight packages that are out there right now, and he just lines up all the way outside, and it's just a jump ball, him over a cornerback, and then they replay it, and the commentators are saying, "Look, he's lined up against the number 1 cornerback here, and he's a tight end, and just makes it look easy." Well, yeah, because he has the size, he has the physical abilities to make those the jumps. Then he's got the hands too. I mean, he does have the capabilities of wide receiver, and you put him out there against a 6-foot corner. That's a pretty good sized cornerback. It's still not even a close competition there with the size.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I love Adam Trotman. He's a former teammate of mine in New Orleans. But when you line Evan up outside of the numbers and you get the man zone tell, you can run the slant, you can run the go, and you can actually throw it to that side. You line Trotman out there, you can still get the man zone tell, but you're not necessarily throwing the go or the slant.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
this is a unique opportunity. We haven't seen this type of tight ends really. I mean, I guess in the Super Bowl we did have Vernon Davis, but really since a Julius Thomas type of like, okay, this guy can really run the routes in the route tree. He can run the curl, he can run the slant, he can run the out, and he can run across the field, and he's a big body.
Totally.
Curious what he was like as a teammate, as a guy.
You know what? He was super young when I was playing, and there was a lot going on in that locker room. He was a great teammate. He practices super hard, but you have to think about this offense. So we have Eli at quarterback, Saquon just got drafted number 2 overall, Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard. So there was a lot of firepower on that offense. We couldn't really score. I'm not going to blame Pat Shurmur for that, but I'm going to blame Pat Shurmur for that. But he was super unique, and he had a great relationship with Eli. But you would just watch him make some of these throws or some of these catches in practice, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, he's catching the ball similar to Odell." You posted something on your Instagram, and it's hard to catch a drag route like this, running full speed. So he has that type of eye tracking and ball skills. So Denver Bronco fans should be very excited about what we're getting ready to see downtown.
Wait, so what did that offense do? I mean,
I think we're averaging we only won 5 games.
That is so, because that's what I thought.
so
Like nothing
sad.
memorable sticks out about that team. But then you just went through it, and I'm like, well, obviously that wasn't one of the ones that made a run in the Super Bowl. But like,
Please don't trash my offensive coordinator.
it wasn't intentional. Maybe he's just not good in the NFL. He's good in college, Ryan.
Exactly. And then, Pat's a Michigan State guy, so I have a lot of love for Pat.
true.
So, Pat's a good friend. I still text him to this day. And he's actually, when he became offensive coordinator here in Denver, we still get together. He was going down to a restaurant called Jing, so we would always meet up there. But when I think about that offense, you think about what we're lucky to have here in Sean Payton in terms of coaching and now an institutionalized process in terms of how to build this roster and put things together. We are better and more equipped in terms of our coaching, and that's what we needed in New York with all that talent. It's a lot, and then playing with Odell is a lot. So just depends.
I think having Sean makes a signing like Evan Engram so much more fun because obviously Sean signed off on it.
Yeah.
Like he sees what we see. And it's like, wait, if Sean says this is the tight end
Signed
he
off
wants,
on it is a very light term.
went out, found him,
Pounded the
searched
table.
for it, all that stuff. But like going back to the screens, 2023, Evan Engram, Travis Kelce tie for the most catches on screens of any tight end, 21. Broncos last year throw the 3rd most screens of any team in the NFL. But they're all to Marvin Mims or Javonte Williams. They're missing that tight end who catches those screens, so you throw him in there, and all of a sudden it just it all comes full circle. And you see that in so many different parts of the offense where it's like, wow, Evan really does just kind of complete this piece and just open everything up, and it's going to be incredible.
Can you guys imagine opening day, Marvin Mims comes on a fake jet sweep, fake screen to the running back, screen to Evan Engram for a touchdown?
That's
all of that misdirection right there.
Yeah.
That's what Sean's already drawn up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had that exact play in my head before you said it. I was like, fake
goodness.
screen one way, fake screen the other way, drop it off in the middle of the tight end.
Like they had one last year, right, where it was like the center snaps the ball, the guard and tackle on the right side, pull to the left, guard and tackle on the left side, pull to the right, and everybody's out there. It's just like, you pick your side based on the numbers. They can get crazy with that stuff this year.
Absolutely. Or just a fake screen to him, and then you got Cortland running up the sideline.
Yep.
Just, nice cover 2 hole shot.
Yep.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp catches the ball in the middle, though.
Let's go.
And
we'll save that for tomorrow.
And then Genty comes out of the backfield, and you can
Yeah.
dump it to
Oh, yeah.
him, too.
Exactly.
I mean, these are all potential
I don't know. Genty's not going to be there at 20.
He's not
Yeah, I think you're probably
not
right about that.
But it's crazy what you're saying, though, about Sean Payton and how exciting it is to have a player like Evan Engram with him, because that should be said about every offensive coordinator that's getting paid, or head coach that calls the plays, that's getting paid millions of dollars to use the talent they have. And it's crazy how often in the NFL they just don't do that.
Yeah.
But it's like Sean Payton is not going to have Evan Engram and line him up in line every play and have him block 65% of the time.
Yep.
You already know, and you can be confident that Sean Payton is going to use him the right way.
Oh, 100%. He's going to have all his Ole Miss personnels. When I played for Sean in 2020, whatever college you went to, that's kind of what your personnels would be. But what Evan does really well, he will take advantage of, and he will be able to disguise it. Okay, hey, we want to run this option route with Evan. We want to line him up in the slot. So he'll dress it up where Evan's on the right-hand side, put him over, or motion him over to the left, put him in the slot. And then sometimes he'll do a shift out of it. So we're going to see him do some of the most incredible things with Evan. Go back and look at some of the Michael Thomas tapes. So we have this play called Lucy, which is an option route where the slot guy can run that. You'll see Evan run that a lot this year. And if, I know we're talking Cooper Kupp tomorrow, but if we get him, then it's really over.
Man, this is incredible. And we've what's also incredible, maybe the most incredible thing about the first 16 minutes of the show, we haven't said the word Joker once.
I think he did.
I think we did.
Okay, 'cause I want to ask you about that, because you know about Sean's offense.
I do.
But you also said one other thing that I want to touch on after I give a shout out to our friends over at Lucy. You talked about a play, Lucy. Well, we've got our friends over at Lucy.
I love this play.
Lucy Nicotine is this Ryan's play? Yeah,
That's a
here.
great play.
A
Yeah,
great
it works
play
every
here.
time.
100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free. Lucy Breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release not only extra flavor, but hydration as well. And you can set up a subscription to have your Lucy delivered straight to your door. That's go to lucy.co/DNVR and use promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. And the thing is, it's no hassle because Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you decide to change your mind. So go to lucy.co and use code DNVR to get 20% off. They got so many different flavors, so many different strengths. So you can start off with one, or if you want to hire one, you can get that as well. So that's DNVR over at lucy.co. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
And shout out to Toyota. If you don't get your Lucy delivered to your door, you can take your Toyota to go pick it up yourself. Toyotas are great for people in Colorado because, there's a lot of mountains and stuff, trails, trying to get up, go skiing, whatever it is. Toyotas are built for that. It's in the Toyota's DNA. If you like off-roading, they've got a bunch of different trucks. The all-new 2024 Tacoma, return of the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser, 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, like the 4Runner. They also have a bunch of low and zero emission vehicles, more than any other automaker. So there's 16 different hybrids to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max Hybrid truck, SUVs, all that sort of stuff. You guys know Toyotas. And if you want to pick one up, you can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood, Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
One more shout out to us over at thednvr.com. Henry's got a couple of film rooms up if you want to get in on that. We've got our free agent frenzy sale going on. So instead of $79.99 for an annual pass, it's $36. And not only do you get our free agent info, you also get access to our big draft guide. And Fran Duffy just posted his new big board right now. And it's done in a very different way than a lot of other big boards. It's done in a way that's very easy to understand, comprehend just how good these guys are. And it's really cool. So you want to go check out thednvr.com, scan the QR code on our screen, click the link in our description, and you're going to get that discount. Plus, you get a free t-shirt with it as well. You can actually pick one up at the bar. We've got St. Patrick's Day t-shirts out. If you want that one, you can get it at the bar as well. So make sure to join us. And shout out to Benny for joining us, rocking and rolling with us the rest of this week. And Benny, the word Joker is thrown around since Sean Payton got here, and over the past 12 months, it's picked up more and more steam as Sean says it more, as he says, I need a joker. And the Broncos, these guys hate the word joker. By the way, they think it's just overused.
It's just overword. It's just
there's a lot of.
I'm ready to talk about it for the next
Joker,
decade.
Joker.
I've never heard Sean actually use it. I've heard it more actually on the radio or from you guys. So I'm just curious. To, like,
Jokers are coming out.
What did he say? What does Sean say it means?
So it's pretty much receiving, tight end, or running back, not receiver.
It's just a mismatch.
Yeah. So it's like a John Gruden term first. The idea is it's called joker because, like, in cards, joker works in any hand. So whatever your, like, pairing of 5 skill position players is, there's something he can do that just, like, breaks the defense and kind of unlocks it. So it's like a tight end who can flex out and can win against linebackers and safeties, or can, like, block a corner if you put it on, or a running back who you can flex out and win the one-on-ones with a little slant or a quick out.
So we have a big joker and now in Ingram, and then we have a mini joker in Mims.
So
And that's,
he uses Marvin like a joker, at least at the end of last season, but he says a joker isn't really a wide receiver.
Okay, so we
But
only
then-
have one then.
Yeah.
But then if you ask George Payton, then a joker can be. So if you get really deep into the lore of joker, then there's these different little nuances between, but we go by Sean's definition for the most part.
That's actually crazy that Sean doesn't really talk about it inside the locker room because, man, over these past 12 months, he's wanted to bring it up. And maybe it's because, like, he views this role as so important in his offense. And because his offense wasn't a top 5 offense, he kind of wanted to say, like, well, I need this one position. So let me make it very clear that I need this position for my offense to click. But when he points to jokers that he's had in the past, he points to Jimmy Graham, he points to Jeremy Shockey, he points to Jason Witten when he was the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys. And then he also points to Darren Sproles, Alvin Kamara. So running backs like that as well, that type of player.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, now if I think about the offense that we had in 2020 in New Orleans, the joker would be Kamara, and then it would be Jared Cook.
Exactly.
And Kamara was a beast.
Yep.
I mean, complete animal. My favorite time being on the field with him was that screen that they ran to him against Green Bay. No, it wasn't even a screen. Drew went through his progression and then did a dump off. And Alvin Kamara just goes down the sideline, he starts sprinting, then he slows down, he hops over somebody, and then he scores. And it was just like, so I guess Sean is looking for that type. But I think Evan Engram is that type. You know, I think Evan's got a couple of handoffs in his career too.
He has. Yep.
You know, he can actually get the ball, handoff, little jet sweep action, little out route action, little option action. So it's going to be exciting. He is the joker. I think we need one more, though. Yeah. And I think if we can add one of these dynamic running backs in the draft, then the misdirection, then the play calling, then you see it continue to evolve, because I still think we need some receiver help. But if Sean says that the receiver room is where he likes it, or he likes it how it is, that means he's going to get another joker in this draft.
So that something you just said there is going into free agency. So many people thought like wide receiver was number 2, number 3, number 1 on the Broncos need list. And Sean publicly and privately for 6-8 months has been saying like this receiver room is better than people think, at least in my eyes right there. So I just didn't think the Broncos are going to go out and make a big move, like go out and sign Chris Godwin for $20 million.
Which I agree with.
Do you see that with this receiver room? Like it's better than people think? Because I think a lot of people look at it and see like, okay, you got Cortland Sutton, and we saw flashes from Mims at the end of the season, and then like we need another 2. But Sean doesn't see it that way.
If I look at the receiver room as a whole, I would give it a B or a B+.
Okay.
Cortland, great player, more consistent this year, catching the ball across the middle, and then obviously the 50-50 balls he can do, and he does really well. You know, some of those things, one-handed catches, he does really well. But who is the Emmanuel Sanders, the Wes Welker, the Brandon Stokely? I don't want to say
chain movers.
Yeah, we need somebody on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5. Like, okay, you know they're getting the ball, and you still can't stop it.
Yep.
So,
and right now that's Court. Like it's like you run that slant, but he's going up against number 1 corners every time, and that's so it doesn't really fit.
No, he should still win that.
He should. He
should still win
Okay.
that. Regardless, if you are the number 1 receiver and you run a slant, and they call the slant for you, you should win every time.
Okay.
You should. I mean, that's what they're paying you $20 million for.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give anybody any excuses on that. But yeah, who's the real route runner? Who is the one who can move the chains? And I know we're getting into it tomorrow, but I think that's what you see in a Cooper Kupp or when I was playing with Sean in New Orleans, we had a couple chain movers. You have a Michael Thomas where you couldn't stop that connection with him and Drew Brees, but then we signed. I went there with Emmanuel, but then you have the Emmanuel on the curls, the double moves. Yep. You know, the real precise route runner. Who is going to be that person that gets open? Troy Franklin, you know, had a decent rookie year. Vele, I'm excited about, and the opportunity that he will have. And I think Sean really sees something in him. And then Mims is obviously your deep threat down the field along with Cortland. So it's exciting to see. I think these guys will continue to grow in the offense and the comfort with the offense, but I still think we need one more guy.
So when you say that, Benny, my head goes to like last year, I think it was Devon Vele. Like his very first game in Seattle, he goes out and they throw the ball to him 8 times. He has 8 catches for like 34 yards. It was literally just like, we need 3 yards. Okay, he's going to get us 3.5 right there. Yep. But when my mind goes to right now and like what's it going to be this coming year, I think that's Evan Engram, at least as of right now. Yeah. And you look 2 years ago with the Jaguars, he had 114 catches from a tight end. That is
and it was
insane.
only like 770 yards, wasn't it?
It was just under 9. It was just under 1,000.
Okay.
But still, to your point, like 114 catches, you don't get 1,000 yards. That shows me that he's doing that exact thing. So I mean, can he be that role for Sean Payton of like just he's going to be Mr. Third Down?
I think he will be, but I think it's going to be a combination of people. I think we still need another one. I mean, it depends on where we want to go. And if we want to continue to do something well, like if we don't have Cooper Kupp as the option, Amari Cooper would be my second option in terms of signing somebody. You want to talk about somebody who never loses on a slant. I don't care what the down and distance is. You can know the slant's coming, and the way he's going to run it, he'll still win. So who is that going to be that person for us this year? Because when you added Evan Engram, now you have to really go for it.
Yep.
Now you can go for it.
Yep.
Now when you're playing Kansas City and they're playing man-to-man, who are you going to guard? You can't guard all these guys like this one-on-one.
Yep.
So I was thinking about this because you've been saying over and over and over again, Sean doesn't think they need him. I think there's a chance this might be a smokescreen. It seemed so obvious back in the end of the season. Everyone was mocking wide receivers to Denver, wide receiver, Luther Burton, whoever. And I wonder if Sean just wanted to get people off the scent a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, he did it last year.
Because you can find tight ends, I think, in the second and third rounds in this draft. You can definitely find running backs in the second and third round in this draft. To me, wide receiver isn't quite as deep. And so maybe he's trying to push people off the scent, making them think he's going to go one way so he can go get, a superstar wide receiver.
Well, he did it last year at the owners' meetings about a year ago. He was talking about how he had a great meeting with J.J. McCarthy and was blowing J.J. up, never mentioned Bo Nix at all, and that was to get other teams to be really interested in JJ and then also like feel like they have to move up to get him. But you saw that exact thing happen in the draft. The Minnesota Vikings jump from 12 to from 11 to 10 in order to get JJ McCarthy, while the Broncos just got to sit back and have Bo Nix fall right to him.
I've never seen Sean Payton be as proud of anything as he was of in his eyes tricking the Vikings into trading up to draft JJ McCarthy, which has no impact on the Broncos. By the way.
Other than he hates the Vikings because of that playoff game where he thinks the refs screwed him over, and he's a Vikings hater.
Well, yeah. He's also had some bad moments in
He's had a lot of bad
house
moments in the
too.
playoffs.
Yeah,
exactly.
The Minnesota Miracle was against him.
That's why he hates him.
And I forgot this. After the Saints scored to go up with 20 seconds left or something in that game, they were going to win. Sean turned to the crowd and did the skull chant.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I love it.
Is this receiver class deep for this NFL draft?
I think, in the way that every class since 2020 has been deep. Before that, it was things changed with that Jamar Chase type class. I think this is pretty standard compared to that. And I think it kind of gets ignored because there have been so many deep classes back to back to back that doesn't stand out. But yeah, there's a bunch of guys to like.
Okay.
I would say it's it's average. I don't think it's weak,
The new
but I don't
average,
think it's
exactly.
Whereas
the best receiver in college right now has 2 more years to play.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It feels
That
like
is
there've been
nuts.
The two
those
best.
guys come up a lot now. Or it's even Brock Bowers, I guess a tight end, but you knew for 3 years that he was going to be that guy.
They should allow
Jerry Jeudy
those guys to leave early or just give an exception.
Yeah.
yeah, if you're good enough.
Jeremiah Smith, well, he's good enough, but he's physically ready.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you say it's kind of like a four-man class at the top?
Travis Hunter.
Well, I wasn't even. Yes.
Yeah, and then you got Tedero McMillan, Luther Burden. I don't like Burden that much, but Burden, Matthew Golden, maybe that's kind of the
Egbuka.
next 3. Oh, Egbuka in front of Burden. I could get behind that.
You guys putting Travis at receiver?
Everywhere. Anywhere.
Long term, you got to try him everywhere.
I think
You
the
do put him
NFL's
at receiver if you have to choose one, though, in my opinion. It's the only one where the other team can't dictate how often he gets to be involved in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the NFL, from people that I've talked to at least, they think he is a elite number one, without a doubt, cornerback in the NFL, like just behind Pat Surtain coming out of college. At
Is he
wide
that big?
receiver, they think no, he's not. So that I think that's why
More Champ Bailey.
These people, that's why people have Pat
Hoping
a
he's
little
Champ
bit better.
Bailey,
But I mean,
to
still,
be clear.
Pat's defensive player of the year. That's no disrespect to Travis at all. But they think he's like a really good wide receiver.
They're wrong.
Okay.
He's Pat Surtain on one side and Justin Jefferson on
I
the
agree.
other.
Justin Jefferson's my comp. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. You go back though, you watch like the plays
Benny
Justin
says it's
Jefferson will
crazy.
make like on the sideline 1-on-1. Travis has some of that. Travis has some of that.
Just wait. Just wait.
First of all, I'm a huge Travis Hunter fan, but I mean, to compare him to Justin Jefferson, no, because I'm just talking about pure getting off the line of scrimmage. Travis lets people get hands on him and things like that. What you can't hit, I mean, what you can't see, you can't hit. Justin Jefferson is not letting anybody touch him at the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So
Can he
He'll
learn
get there.
though?
But the thing about Travis is he's only really been focusing on wide receiver for 2 years.
yeah, I mean, I hope he does well. I didn't know if people had him at receiver or corner. I think I'd go corner,
The other
and then I'd put him at some. I'd let him play receiver in packages.
Yeah. The other comp for receivers that he gets a lot is like a little bit bigger, longer armed type Malik Neighbors.
Interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors led the league in catches this year. What?
I think you're underrating him as a receiver.
He's really
bro.
good. He's really good.
I mean, Malik Neighbors has elite ball skills. I'm not saying
I think
Travis Hunter
Travis-
does.
Travis
but-
does.
I think Travis has the best ball skills I've ever seen.
With longer arms.
What?
Yes. Yes.
Malik Neighbors. Go back and watch. Just go watch Malik Neighbors' rookie highlight tape in terms of like hands catcher.
For sure.
Elite ball skills you've ever seen.
In terms of-
you've never seen Odell or
In terms
Larry
of
Fitzgerald.
tracking the ball in the air and going and attacking it, I think he's the best I've seen.
Odell, Fitzgerald.
Yes. Well,
I've heard
Fitzgerald's more
like
of
Jerry
a,
Rice. A lot of
I
receivers.
don't know.
Fitzgerald's more of like a
Okay, fair enough, fair
physical type. I'm talking about the ball's up, going and attacking it, and jumping over someone.
Okay. I can see what you're saying. Yeah, attacking the ball. That makes sense. But like elite ball skills, I'm talking about like on a 20-yard dig, you're running across the field and you're running through the ball. Not many people could just run through the ball. Usually receivers slow down. I've only seen like 3 or 4 receivers in the time that I played or when I watch just run through the ball. It's insane to do. So, but
Fair
it's
enough.
it's a debate for
Man,
another day.
Why
I love
is that
that.
so hard?
You're just running at the ball and like you have to. Can you really track that? You don't see many receivers catch a slant and take it to the house. It's because most people slow down because
Yeah.
you're running towards the ball. But if you look at like Jamar Chase, I think he caught like a dig this year against Baltimore where he's running across the field at top speed and just he catches it in stride and then runs through it. You don't see a lot of that.
That's crazy. So what you're saying, Ryan, is there's no roof on Travis Hunter's ceiling.
No roof on his ceiling.
Yeah.
I could
sure.
get
Yeah, that's
behind.
what
Yeah,
you're
sure.
saying. Because I want to give a shout out. You'll see where this is going. Give me a second. I want
roof
to
on
give a
his
shout
ceiling.
out to our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing. Do you see that transition right there? Pretty seamless, huh?
Yeah, sorta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sort
kinda. It
of,
was
maybe.
forced.
Okay, a little forced. Well, they're Denver's best roofers over at Red Hawk Roofing, and they've joined DNVR's team, and they've been with us for a long time. We've got so many people that have gone to them and just given excellent reviews with them. And if you want to go pro with your roof, make sure that they are part of your team. They can do full roof replacements to minor repairs, long-lasting relationships with their customers, which is what matters. That's one of the things that we hear is the relationships are just great. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. They've got Colorado's best estimators and contractors, and they're huge DNVR supporters. So it's a great way to support us and a great way to support people that support us. And they have a free no obligation roof and property inspection. They've got free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. And you can't always see how bad the damage is to your roof from the ground, so you got to call them out. So if you have any questions about your roof, give them a call at 720-771-8921. Make sure to tell them that DNVR sent you. That's Red Hawk Roofing over at 720-771-8921. Tell them DNVR sent you.
Also, shout out to our friends over at UC Health. You know, last year when we were doing these UC Health reads, I was feeling kind of guilty because I wasn't doing my part to keep my health right. This year, I'm up to 44 days straight on hitting my move goal
Let's
on
go.
my Apple Watch.
There you go.
Yes,
My
let's
goal
go.
is to be down 10 pounds by my birthday. I hit that goal. So now I can actually speak to living a healthier lifestyle or living like there is a tomorrow, like they say over at UC Health. I spent a lot of years living like there isn't a tomorrow.
Yeah. No, see, I usually use these to like repent. It's like if I had done this ad, it would be like, yeah, I was working last night and I had 2 donuts. I shouldn't have done it, but I'm addressing it. I'm not going to do it again. So you're way better at this.
Yeah, I'm locked in right now.
Yeah.
So I'm living like there is a tomorrow. Once you turn 33, you have to start thinking about stuff like that.
good to know.
So if you're like me, you're trying to live a healthier lifestyle, go to uchealth.org for more information. UC Health, live extraordinary.
And shout out to everyone that's tuning in with us. Hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Let's show Benny some love. Let's hit us with a thumbs up. Subscribe, turn on alerts. We've done 3 emergency pods so far this week. Whenever the Broncos sign a big player, we are doing the emergency pod. So maybe Cooper Kupp's around the corner. If so, we'll be doing an emergency pod. So make sure you turn on alerts so you know when we are going live. So I want to continue this conversation about Evan Engram in terms of like what it means for the offense, what it means for Bo Nix, because I would have to imagine, just taking a step back, that for a young quarterback, like you were talking about what Thomas Dimitroff said, just how good that knowledgeable tight end can be for that guy, especially when the Broncos go from having barely any production from the tight end position in the middle of the field last year to now you get one of the best, a guy that's going to be able to, like you said, do it in the short game, do it in the long game as well. How important is this going to be for Bo to take his next step?
I think it's going to be huge for Bo. Number one, I think what this really does for Bo from a psychological standpoint is that, hey, they believe in me and they want to surround me with weapons. We had some great success last year, and now we want to take the next step. So in terms of your locker room and also Bo Nix, it's like, okay, hey, we have a real opportunity here to win back this division. Kansas City's been winning I don't know how many years in a row, but now we know we can compete with them. We no longer go into the game saying, hey, let's try to keep it close. No, we're going in there to win it. So I think that's what it does. But for Bo, it gives him another weapon. And now, I mean, Bo hasn't even seen this guy on the practice field yet, but now Bo can actually see this guy on the practice field and is like, oh man, like if I have one-on-one coverage, I might check it. Okay, hey, Evan's got a slant here, but he's got press coverage. I might just throw the go.
Yeah.
So you have that type of opportunity for Bo. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. And I think what we've seen from Bo is that like his floor is being a really good game manager. And you hope he keeps growing and turns into like Tom Brady or something like that. But what we know is right now his floor is really good game manager. And you look at guys like Brock Purdy, for example. You give him Kittle, you give him Ayuk, you give him Debo, you can get to a Super Bowl, especially 100%. If you have Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga on the defense. But that's a different conversation. But so I think what you see is, okay, Bo is so accurate. He can put the ball right on him when he runs those little drags. He's smart enough to start getting on the same page with Evan Engram, finding those little spots in the zone, knowing when he's going to slow up. And I think it's good for him to practice just building chemistry with a guy, especially somebody who is kind of that like check down, find space type, and not so much like, hey, you're going to take 14 steps and you're going to take one step in and boom, it's got to be right there. Somebody who is a little bit more fluid and can try to build that, because that seems like the kind of skill that you have to learn at some point, and then you can kind of maybe teach a Marvin, like, here's what we want here, or teach whoever the next tight end is 5 years from now. Like, this is what Evan did that I really liked. Yeah. I just like that aspect, that it should like give him a new thing to work on, a new project to have for this next season.
I expect an Instagram picture in the next week or so of these guys together.
Yeah.
I don't know where Bo's training in the offseason, but I expect him to take a trip and get together before OTA starts. But that chemistry should start being built now. I expect Bo to be already looking at some of the highlights or some of the things that Evan does well, talking to Sean and just seeing how this is done. And then Davis Webb, backup quarterback who was in New York with Evan. I think there's also some chemistry there in terms of just overall comfort and how this is going to be done.
Who's the one who tells Bo that he should do that? Because like you're obviously just going into your second year.
Probably
like,
Stiddy.
Okay.
Probably
Okay,
Stiddy.
yeah.
Or Davis Webb, to be honest. I mean, and who says, I mean, Bo, he's been around football a long time, so he probably's already done that.
Yeah.
My hope is that Bo has already talked to Drew Brees they should be spending time together this offseason as well. It's like you're going into year 2 of this offense. This is kind of what Sean expects. And if I was Bo, I hope he's doing that. You have Drew Brees as a resource. Go to San Diego for, when it gets cold here in Denver, go to San Diego for a couple weeks and go behind the scenes with Drew.
Yeah, man, that's such a good point. And he has so many resources. I mean, I don't know if Peyton Manning, I mean, we know Peyton Manning talks to every quarterback that signs with the Broncos, but he's just down the street too.
Yeah. Different offense.
Yeah.
Different, I'd lean more towards Drew just based off of, Peyton was all shotgun.
Yeah.
It was all him, at the line of scrimmage, everything. This is more timing. Hey, 5-step drop, 7-step drop. This is what you look for. The progressions, the reads, and how Drew went about it. I'd lean more towards Drew.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless,
that's fair. So, Ryan, you kind of brought it up, like the talking to people, but then passing camps. When you and I both covered the team, we heard about every offseason it was about, are they doing a passing camp? Because, of course, Peyton always did a passing camp in April or so. And then it was, okay, is Trevor going to do a passing camp? Okay, yeah, Mark kind of picked that up. And then every year we made a big deal of it, and the public made a big deal of it. Is that important? Should we be watching for a Bo Nix passing camp, or is that totally overrated?
No, we should be, because he has to take another step. And, for the type of rookie year that he had, I mean, he easily would have been rookie of the year. Jaden Daniels played out of his mind.
Yeah.
But other than that, Bo Nix was right there pretty much up until the last couple weeks of the season, just because Jaden took that much of a step. But, I mean, yeah, we should definitely be seeing that. And this is Bo's continuing to take the leadership step that we want to see from a franchise quarterback, somebody who is the face of the franchise and somebody that we have so much hope for. So we definitely want to see that. I never got invited to Peyton's camps.
Damn.
I mean, I was a rookie, as undrafted. You don't know if I'm gonna make the team, and then going into my second year, I didn't know if I was, they didn't know if I was gonna make the team, but I did get the last pass, so it's all good.
There you go.
It's all good. So
How often do people reference that to you?
when the last pass,
Catching Peyton's last pass?
every time they,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I'm tied to him forever, whether he likes it or not.
I think I got like 15 people saying like, "Oh, Benny, did you know he caught Peyton's last pass?" Actually, yeah, I heard. Yeah,
It's one of those things that people in the moment are like, "That's going to be a great trivia question one day," and it's like, "Nope, everyone said it
knows
too many
it.
times."
Everyone
It's not a good trivia question.
And the cherry on top is it was in a freaking Super Bowl too. So
Yeah. But I'm super sad that I never got like the Duke invite.
yeah.
But
Turns out you didn't need it.
Yeah, I did.
yeah.
I built some great chemistry with Peyton. Shout out to him.
See, maybe if he would have invited you to that, then the Panthers would have keyed in on it more and would have stopped that. Maybe
Nah,
Peyton
we
was
had-
playing
dude.
like
They were keyed in on the right people, Demarius and Emmanuel. We put them on the same side of the field. It was like, all right, these slaps over here. Let's just play man to man.
was that meant to go to you?
No.
Okay.
Emmanuel, if you look at the play, it's on YouTube, you see Emmanuel waving his hands like that. So as Emmanuel comes in short motion, and then he had the option route. DT was going to run like a fade and then clear it out for him. But Peyton was like, we're going to man on this side.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you. So.
Oh, that is awesome to get that insight. Speaking of insight, want to talk about Dre Greenlaw,
Yeah.
Hufanga,
Yes.
maybe Sherfield as well. But let's start with the guy they signed very first, Hufanga, the first team
You're
All
so
Pro
scared to
safety.
say his first name.
Talanoa.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Talanoa.
But you're right. I am scared to say it.
I was talking to Zach on the phone. I was like, how do you say it? Talanoa Hufanga? All right, here we go.
Yeah, you got it. Just confidence and you're good.
Yeah.
So Talanoa Hufanga, first team All Pro safety in 2022. That's the only time that he's been fully healthy. But man, when he is healthy, he is a beast.
Yeah.
And is that what you saw? I mean, you were around him his rookie year. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so I didn't really see him as who he is today. I didn't see him as a first-team All-Pro guy because, it was OTAs and a little bit of training camp when I saw him. But what I do know about him, just studying the game and watching the game over the last couple of years, is that he's always around the ball, not afraid to hit, can play and understands coverages, and he brings an edge. So when you think about Talanoa Hufanga,
Impressive.
and you think about that signing, what I love about the signing the most is, number one, he brings an edge to the defense, even more of an edge. He's somebody who understands coverages, knows how to disguise things, plays at the line of scrimmage. But then also when you think about the culture and then trying to create a winning culture, he has played and now has gone to a Super Bowl, so he knows what that's like. And now he is a veteran. Now he's a veteran into the locker room, and he can be that type of leader. He knows how to go about his business a certain way. And with Bo Lowry, the head of performance and strength and performance here for the Broncos, when you think about those injuries and we think about those things, they will know how to navigate and mitigate those things over time. So, I know Bo and Sean have a process in terms of if we do sign this guy, they always play the chances of, hey, okay, he has an injury history, so we have to account for him maybe missing 2 to 3 games, which is okay. But if they're accounting for that in their minds as they build the roster. So I really like the signing.
Yeah. And one of the things that when you're talking about him, I just think like, man, dog, and not just a great player on the field, but brings a different mentality. And you were on a team that had a lot of those guys, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you think Aqib Talib, TJ Ward, Darian Stewart, and then in the middle, Malik Jackson, Derek Wolfe, along with just great players as well, but guys that just had that edge. And the Broncos right now have an unbelievably talented defense before signing these 2 guys. But if you look around, like just that type of personality, not necessarily. And I think both of the guys they brought in on defense have that. Greenlaw, I mean, you see some videos of him on the sideline, and like he's not wearing pads, and he's like pushing other guys, and and that's like kind of what you need. And I feel like on top of the great players they just bring that, and it seems like that's just so key. Broncos had the 3rd best defense in the NFL last year. To kind of take them over the top, maybe having this edge is what they really needed.
I think when you think about Greenlaw, and you mentioned some of those guys on that Super Bowl team, when you practice against guys like that, you sometimes wonder if we're all on the same team. Like, like, are you serious? Like, when I think about Aqib Talib and TJ Ward and going to get some of those guys in practice, they're so competitive, like a Greenlaw, like a Hufanga.
I think about Danny T.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if like, are we friends or so. But then, they wear the same color as you, and then when you're on the sideline with them on Sunday, they got your back no matter what, and they're there for you. So I think I'm super excited about the Greenlaw signing because that brings not only a level of edge to the defense, but a level of accountability in terms of effort because he is going to be around the ball every play.
Yeah.
And people are going to gravitate towards that. And then what we're going to see on the practice field, that is going to bring that competitive energy and juice. The 2 years I played here, the first 2 years I played here with Payton and, when we signed Emmanuel, I mean, it's the greatest free agency class for Denver probably.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see that type of free agency here with Sean. Those practices were insane. And I mean, almost to fights and different things like that. But it was so competitive because we were only after one thing. And I think when you sign a Greenlaw and Hufanga and then a Trent Sherfield, who also has a dog to him more on the special team side, it's going to be competitive every single day. I don't know if Sean, I think he might have that sign in Denver now. I haven't been to the practice facility, but it's called Compete Street.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's right
He
there.
does.
Yeah. He's all about competition.
So that's a Sean thing going back before Denver.
Yeah, that was in
I've
New
never
Orleans,
known that.
Compete Street. Whenever
Okay.
you're getting ready to enter that practice field, we are going to compete. I mean, he's the only coach I played for we actually hit. Like we went live. You don't do live in the NFL, but Sean's like, oh no, we're hitting.
Yep.
You have a problem with it? I'll help you find another team.
You need guys on your defense, especially, and sometimes on your offensive line as well, where like guys are on the sidelines just being like, the guy's a psycho.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with him? You know what I mean? Like, you and it makes the other team scared
Yep.
because that guy's a live wire. You have no idea what he's going to do at any moment, and
Right.
it makes you hesitate a little bit when you're going their direction.
Yeah. Being a liability is ability, according to you here. That's fascinating.
I mean, I saw Aqib Talib throw a man down
yeah.
by his face mask in the first quarter of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like,
he said he was going to do that too. I'm taking the penalty and but you set the tone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you riding with me or not,
Yep.
and if you aren't, then don't be around me.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you need that type of atmosphere, and you need that type of mentality. You need it with your players, but I mean, Sean is that insane too.
Yep.
He is that fiery and that live in terms of how he goes about things. And, I don't know, Dan Campbell was there when I was in New Orleans. He'd fight a player. So
With the player wearing a full helmet and Dan just without anything. And
Dan's a solid guy. So I mean, I'm excited for the Broncos.
Well, and I mean, I think Dan's a great example. He is a protege of Sean Payton, coached right under him until he got the job in Detroit. And then, of course, he has the viral moment in his first press conference of biting kneecaps off, and we're going to, fall down, and then we're going to come back up and bite kneecaps. And that he didn't necessarily learn those words from Sean, but that mentality from Sean. Sean is so old school, even though he's still able to adapt to like the new processes of this game, but he is old school, and there's a reason why he always mentions Bill Parcells and learning from him and calling him like every other day, is because he's an old school guy.
He's old school, and I mean, I loved playing for Sean. He's the best coach that I played for. Don't get me wrong, I love Kubiak because we won the Super Bowl, but Sean was like one of the only coaches that I played for who like wasn't afraid of Brady. Like we blew Brady out twice when he was in Tampa the first 2 years. I don't think they actually lost a regular season game to Tampa when Tom was there, besides the playoff game.
Wow.
I mean, but
That was wasn't that Tom's first game in Tampa?
Yeah, punishing him that game, then at Tampa, and then the next year. But Sean, like he's not afraid of anybody, and oh man, I loved it.
You weren't there
get me
when
fired up.
he dressed up as Bill Belichick in a meeting, were you?
No,
Okay. Because I've been trying to find somebody, and I figured you probably weren't. Because like Will Lutz wasn't. I've asked all like the 49 or the Saints guys, but that is just a crazy thing to do. Or like Lutz was telling me there's a story. There was a trap game. And so what Sean did was he just bought a whole bunch of mouse traps and pinned them up on the walls everywhere. Said like, don't fall for the trap. Like, don't fall for the cheese. This is a trap game. And just, but stuff like that's crazy.
He's a big theme guy. He's a big theme. What's the theme for the week? Every week takes on a life of its own. But he brings the juice. I mean, I'm excited for Riz. I think Riz probably is the reason why Trent Sherfield got signed.
Yep.
And you think Trent as a gunner, think him as an L5 on kickoff, somebody who can block, but definitely a role player, knows his role. Probably will catch 10 passes this year.
Yeah.
But, sneak in there on a fake toss, right up the seam type of thing. Go look at some Austin Carr highlights from his New Orleans days. That type of role player. That's what you'll see from a Sherfield. Strong. He'll be the last person out on the field every single day after practice.
I mean, that's some of the stuff you did, right? The
Yeah.
gunner, special team, all that.
Had to. That's the only way you make the team as an undrafted guy. Have
it's
to.
true.
It's a must.
Man, and you were 2014 undrafted, right?
Yep. Lost at home in the divisional round to Andrew Luck. We should have blew them out.
Like that was
What a
maybe the most
travesty.
disappointing game, even for me
That's the
as
John
a
Fox 1 foot out the door game.
everyone in that building. One foot out
Julius
the door.
Thomas, I'll never forget. I was a rookie. You don't know anything that's going on, but halftime we're trying to make adjustments, and Julius Thomas walks by me. He's like, "Heads are going to roll tomorrow if we lose this game." They fired Fox. I signed my futures contract, and they fired Foxy like 2 hours later.
Wow.
Come on,
You're like, that ink is dry, so we're
Next
good.
guy stuck with me.
those are
But it
crazy.
just showed me
times.
that the league was crazy. I mean, we had 13 Pro Bowlers on that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we were super talented.
Yeah.
And then a young kid comes in Denver and beats you. Yeah, that was maybe the most disappointing game.
The
that I
vibes
can
were
remember.
so off,
too.
though, at least from our perspective.
Totally
like,
agree.
I don't remember thinking going into that game like we're winning the Super Bowl this year.
But I
Whereas the
also
year
remember-
before, obviously, yes, and the year after, I felt that way.
From a fan perspective, I was totally overlooking that game though too.
I think it's hard for teams like who have high-powered offenses for the bye week. You saw it this year with Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have the number one offense or top 10 offenses, top 5 offenses, I should say, have a bye and then really win, even though they're favored at home?
yeah.
It's just tough.
Yeah.
How many even number one seeds or number one offenses actually win the Super Bowl at all?
Right.
Not the
Right.
Panthers.
Definitely not the
Yep.
Panthers.
Not the Panthers. I mean, the year that Tom Brady led the league in touchdowns,
Yep.
the year that Peyton led the
Yep.
league in touchdowns, like
Yep.
Joe Burrow. I mean,
Well, Mahomes, his first year too, when he threw 50, they lost in
in the championship.
Yep, in the
AFC
championship to the Patriots. And man, that's one thing that's overlooked about the Chiefs is people just give Mahomes all this credit, and yes, he's great, but they've always had a good defense, like a top 3, top 1, the best defense in the NFL when they've been winning their Super Bowls too.
100%
So, to your
defense.
point,
Yeah, defense wins it.
Yep.
Wins championships. So I like where we're at on defense. I like the signings that we made, and the Eagles, I mean, I can't even say the Eagles gave us the blueprint. We might have gave them the blueprint on how to slow them down this year.
Facts.
I love that.
You think this defense could be best in the NFL?
I mean, what does that really mean?
I mean-
and I'm not from and I say that like stats or taking the ball away and scoring.
I think it's a combination. Like you one of those, like, you know it when you see it. Like maybe you do finish third in points allowed, but you know that this was the most dominant defense throughout the season.
Yeah, I think it could, but like, who is that real closer? And I'm talking about Von Miller.
Can a cornerback be a
strip
closer?
sack.
No.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No.
So it's a pass rusher.
It has to be like
no.
Nick Bonito.
Because if, I mean, Pat winning Defensive Player of the Year is incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Almost like Gilmore when he won it for New England.
Yeah.
Do we have that type of defense where it's just super stout and we make the play at the right time? I'd rather have that type of defense, or just let's sack the quarterback. Like I want the other team's offensive line to be getting pushed back. How the Chiefs were getting pushed back, they were getting bullied.
They were.
I want to see that.
And there's always going to be like a little worry in the back of our head that Benito's season was a flash in the pan. There's also a chance that it was a springboard
Yeah.
to him becoming a superstar.
Yeah.
Third in the league in sacks as a young player is obviously incredibly eye-opening.
Yep.
Yeah. And
13
this is
sacks.
a guy that
Maybe it is 15 next year.
Yeah, and this is a guy, when they drafted him, he had so many physical tools. Like, you see George Payton, a very level-headed guy, in the Broncos room after saying, holy shoot, we got Nick Bonito at 68 right now, because he's so talented, but they knew he was going to take time to develop. Well, third year, and he gets 14 sacks. That's the development they were waiting for. So you're right, Ryan. I mean, I don't think that we can say this is his ceiling right now. But if he can get up to the Vaughn 18 and a half sacks and be that dominant and have a playoff performance
That would
where
be
he's
nice.
pushing like that, then that's the next step for him to take, is that type of dominance.
I like the Hufanga addition because of the types of disguises that now we'll be able to run. How do we give Pat more opportunities to jump routes?
Yeah.
And how do we create more pressure like that where you don't know who's coming? You're playing that too high shell that Vance likes to run, or you're playing all these different exotic coverages, and we intercept the ball more. I want to see more interceptions, for touchdowns. I mean, I think about great defenses, or the defense I had in New Orleans we had there was incredible. But you have a Cam Jordan, you have a Marshawn Lattimore, you have a Marcus Williams at safety. I think we had Malcolm Jenkins at safety, DeMario Davis at linebacker, and then you had Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
That's what, you start to head towards that. Trey Hendrickson wasn't who he is now,
Right.
So you have that type. Can we see Bonito and those guys continue to step up? But let's take the ball away.
Yep. It's a great point. I think that's what these two new guys are going to be able to provide. And before we get out of here, we got some super chats that I want to hit.
I have one
You got
question
something first?
for Benny. How stoked are we for our guy Todd?
Super excited for him. Number one, just who he is as a person. And Todd, the way he carries himself, super professional, just super polite, and just the way he goes about his business, you just love. And he was a great teammate and a good friend over the past, I don't know, I guess it'd be now 10 years that I've known Todd, or 11 years that I've known Todd. So just to see his growth, but then to see him continue his passion in terms of what he understands about the game of football, and then being able to give that back to some of these younger guys and to some of these people that are in that locker room. And then he knows what it means to be a winner in Denver and what it's like for that. So he can be able to speak to that. And when he walks into that building every single day, he's the only one in there who was a part of that team, or the last person to raise that trophy here. So he knows what it means to be a winner in this city, and I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. Love it. Okay, let's dive in. That was our first super chat, courtesy of Ryan Koenigsberg. Second super chat coming in from our friend Broncos Slick Lakers, who says, how far would you have to trade back to gain a third this year and next? Vikings 2024, Philly at 32. Think that's the move. More darts for a tight end or a defensive line with the first pick. What do you think about going defense with the first pick in this draft for the Broncos?
I like where the defense is right now.
Yeah.
And I think, how do you just add more pieces maybe later in the draft, or get a nice culture piece and defensive fit with some of the later guys in later free agency. I'm talking about, second, third wave, which we're in now. I'm going for a joker position, additive joker position at 20.
Yep.
And I'm talking about a home run hitting running back or I don't know. I definitely don't want to do tight end, but running back.
Yep.
Somebody that is explosive through the hole. Somebody who can, has good hands. That's what I see.
Yep. That's I think what Broncos Country wants right now too. That's the number one. Henry, how far would they have to trade back?
So if you were to trade back from 20 and get a pick right in the middle of the third round this year and a third rounder next year, you'd probably have to go like 20 to 33.
Okay.
To 33?
Yeah. Based on the
out of the
checks.
first round entirely.
Yep.
Interesting. One pick on day 2.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Not for a third.
You know what?
I'd be more interested in
George
some
Payton
seconds.
would love that. Sean Payton would say, no way am I giving up a first
He's
round
still
pick.
never traded down, right?
Nope. Not in the first round, I don't
Never.
believe. Nope.
So we're 20 years in. I don't think this will be the first.
And a lot of people thought there was an
Not after
opportunity.
what they've just been doing the last.
You're
5
trading up
years.
for Genty if you're making a trade.
Yeah, exactly. Another one from our friend Broncos Slick, who says, I'm not sold on a gotta have them player being available at 20 versus trade back for a third this year and next, or even fourth round picks, value draft. Yeah, is this George Payton joining the chat right now? Trying to convince Sean ahead of time that we should be accumulating more assets?
Yeah. I mean, I think the value's in day 2. It's all second and third rounders this year.
So you would trade back?
Well, depending on what you'd have to trade to go get Genty and move up. But if
So
assuming
you would you want to move up to get Genty?
I'd trade up for Genty. Like, you patched your holes. There's one hole left. It's running back. Go get the best running back.
Really
I can
quick,
get behind
we're going to
that.
finish
Otherwise,
this
trade
conversation
down.
over on overtime. Go to thednvr.com. Sorry, Henry, continue.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd trade down. Like, I think that's all these guys in the second, third round are monsters.
What do you think you have to trade to get Genty?
Well, I've got the chart pulled up. So if you traded your first 2 picks, that'd be pretty steep, but that gets you up to pick 10.
Not enough.
No, not enough.
Nope. Because
if they trade their first 2 picks, I'd be happy.
I think
If you could get away with the first this year, second next year, then I'm thrilled.
who are the Raiders drafting if it's not Genty? I think when they went out
The
and got
Raiders,
Geno
you don't
Smith,
think they're getting Shador?
not after Geno, in the way that
Maybe.
Pete Carroll loves Geno, and there's reports coming out this week that say that they wanna show Geno with this contract how committed they are to him with the future. And
Yeah,
I
for
think it's
3
like,
years.
you think you would draft Shador
I would.
and
I don't think
have
it's
him
off the
sit for
board.
a couple of years?
I think
Really?
I think you let him sit for a year. You give Geno a 2-year extension, but Brady and Shador have it. Shador's already driven enough.
Yeah.
Put him in the black and silver, better weather. Dion and Tom probably talking behind the scenes. You're probably pushing for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Does anybody here know who DJ Glaze is?
No.
No.
Neither did I, and that's their starting right tackle. So I think offensive line very much in play there.
Thought he was putting out hits.
Yeah, no, that's a Raiders right tackle. If you don't know who it is, they could definitely draft a tackle there.
Man, I think it's gonna be Genty there.
I think so,
hope
too.
I really hope it's not, though, because I want to fall to the Broncos and not go in the division.
I like the kid from North Carolina.
Mario Hampton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people. He's really picking up steam right now too. There's a chance he might not be there at 20.
I'm
with how
always
things are
so
going.
nervous about drafting a running back in the first round because if they don't look like Saquon,
Yeah.
can you really justify it?
Yeah, I mean Najee Harris. I mean that's a first round pick, big, strong, fast,
1,000
like,
yards every season.
Yeah.
solid. Still,
What did Troy Aikman
bust.
say about that?
Bust.
I can't tell you how unimpressed I am with that. When
Exactly. It's like you did fine. Like that's a good starting.
62 yards a
running back,
game
Yep.
is 1,000
but it
yards.
still
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a bust.
Yep. Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Is he? How did he go?
He went
20 in the 20s.
22. Yeah. Something right. 24.
Early 20s.
I wouldn't say he's
Yeah.
a bust, but he's not. He's
Yeah.
not what you thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Man.
it's tough to do much better. Like that
But he's
still is
not
one of the
a-
15 best running backs.
He doesn't
you know?
have Genty-like ability. He's not
he
a
doesn't.
fluid
No.
mover. He was a tough, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type
Yep.
runner at Alabama. Genty's got like real wiggle to him.
Totally.
Like make you miss in this type of space. So
Yep. Yep.
Hampton's big like that, but he's also fast.
yeah.
That's
Two
probably
more
the
super
difference
chats
there.
Did he run the 40?
He did not.
Okay.
We don't have a number.
No one's doing the combine anymore. Like no top guys are doing the combine anymore. It's silly.
No reason to.
Yeah, it's true.
Pro day.
All right, we got two more. Another one from our friend Bronco Slick, who says, so if Genty or Warren not available, do we agree trade back, LMAO? Come on, RK.
No.
This really is
No,
George
no,
Payton trying to
no,
make the
no,
case
no.
to Sean. No.
No trading back. We're trying to win right now, as evidenced by the moves that they're making. Get
Yeah.
the best, most talented player that you can possibly get.
Although,
Get the most talented possible players you can get.
No.
Okay.
although the only argument against this would be what John Elway did when they drafted Derek Wolfe. They traded back, and they had Peyton Manning on the team.
Yeah, but you already had Peyton though. Like that's 12 wins automatic.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That is automatic.
You're right. Yeah. Every time if a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady walks, Drew Brees, whoever walks into the door, you're automatically gonna win 12 games.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could trade back.
Well, they've got Bo Nix, so they're automatic 12 wins.
He's on his way. He's on his way.
Well, we just keep getting more
Super
super
chats
chats.
keep coming.
So Aiden Garcia says, what you're missing, or what was your guys' favorite uniform combination? Benny?
Throwbacks.
Of
Sorry.
course, yeah.
Yeah, throwbacks were
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
I mean, Greg Penner, after the season admitted, he said, when we know that it was unanimous, that everyone's favorite was the throwbacks. Just go,
Make 'em
go with
full-time.
those. Make them full time.
And I think the
Everyone loves
white-
them.
You
2-0
think
in
go
them,
full
right,
time?
Go full time.
It would be
yeah.
awesome.
And 2-0. Yeah.
I think the white throwbacks would be nice too. It's like
Yeah, they
the
would be
blue
sick.
numbers. With the, I think those could even be better than
just
the
go
orange.
all throwback for everything.
They wouldn't even be throwbacks
that's
anymore.
just the uniform.
You're just
Go-
the Broncos again.
I would love it.
Go Oregon style. Just change it up. Change the combinations every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
made Bo feel at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Dean says, awesome. We got Ingram too. Any chance you guys have heard from Todd about his on this new signing? Hope y'all are well.
He's busy.
Yep. I'm still in the don't bother Todd phase.
So am I.
Yeah, we're leaving Todd alone, letting him do his thing as he's having a fantastic week, getting mini dogs on defense right now. Matt Dean again says, thoughts on Tipio? Oh, it was a typo. Oh, he sent another one. So Matt says, again, awesome. We got, wait, where?
Wilson the GOAT.
Oh, that wasn't the one for Matt, though. Okay. Wilson the GOAT says, Benny the Legend, 2-point Benny in Super Bowl 50. Much love. There we go.
Much love, man. Appreciate the support.
Do you have like a picture of that framed somewhere?
I have a huge one.
Yeah.
It was in the Broncos facility, and then they let me take it home of
Okay.
me making the catch. I
That's
got
awesome.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
As
That
you
is-
should.
Do you know where that ball went? Do you have it? Does Peyton have it?
I gave it back to Peyton by mistake. Yeah.
He didn't give you
We landed
big
back
gift for it?
We landed back here for the parade and all that stuff, and I have his last ever regular season jersey, so the one against the Chargers.
Okay.
So he was
What a
signing
game.
that for me, and I was like, "Hey man, I got your last pass ever. You want it?" And he was like, "Man, yeah, I would really appreciate it." I was like, "What? Like, you got everything?" It's like, no, that's the right thing to do. No, so shout out to. I gave it to him. It's the right thing to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this show's been awesome. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. Oh, we have some comments coming in from won't say the name. DNVR Broncos drinking game. Every time the word Joker is used, take a shot. Good luck.
Yep.
I'll make sure to
Have we
fit
heard
that in
from
a
him
lot
since?
tomorrow.
Oh, we actually have.
Yeah,
He's
that's
fine.
a good. That's a good
news.
point. Oh, he's good. We need a Joker counter on the screen. That's a good one right there. Ivan
would
Cruz
be-
says, "I've seen enough. Bring Benny on full time." This is an awesome show today. Steve Canyon says, "Benny is a great addition to the show." Totally agree. Victory Lap says, "Lock Benny in." And final one from Wolfgang
There's that.
says, "If Benny stays on DNVR, then we'll lose him as an offensive quality control coach or wide receiver coach."
No, you will not. I won't be doing that. I will not. I have no
12-hour days.
I have no desire to be in a building that long.
You like
So,
having a life outside of work?
I think there's a better opportunity for myself and what I like to do to educate people on what I learned from the NFL through platforms like this.
Yeah.
I think, if I can help NFL guys in conversation and in passing, great. But I just, being in there just wouldn't really excite me. I played with Peyton, Eli, and Drew Brees for my quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong. I like where Bo's going, but I've tapped out on all the things I need to see inside a football building.
I like it. I respect that.
Yes, yeah. And we love your insight on the show. We're going to have you back tomorrow. So pumped for that. Cooper Cup, We're going to be talking about him. Is he going to be a Bronco?
Hopefully, Amari Cooper. Let's go through all the receivers.
Okay, I love
that.
that.
Yeah,
I
all
love
the
that
receivers
because
that
I
are
think the
left.
Broncos are now tapping into that second wave of receivers, and Cooper might be in that first one. I'll pick your brain about it tomorrow. That's going to do it for us. Shout out to Benny for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Thanks for everyone for tuning in.
We all silly like the mayor.